Yesterday, I saw my neighbor Tom, 67 years old, trying to get out of his car. He was making those grimaces of effort, moving with that slow carefulness that everyone recognizes. It reminded me of myself 6 months ago, when I played tennis 3 times a week without a second thought. What really surprised me was what Tom's doctor said: healthy muscles, intact bones, joints functioning well, and yet he could barely walk. The problem wasn't his strength or body structure. His body had simply forgotten how to use what it already had. Now imagine this: 73% of people over 50 have healthy muscles that simply don't function properly. The brain and muscles have stopped communicating as they should, and walking, swimming, or following traditional exercises doesn't solve the problem. The Mayo Clinic recently published something that should have been front-page news. There's a method over 2,000 years old that can awaken these neural connections in just 2 minutes a day. No equipment, no gym. You can even do it in your pajamas. If you've noticed your legs getting heavier lately, write 1 in the comments. If climbing stairs has become a challenge, write 2. Because what I'm going to show you isn't just another exercise. It's a complete reprogramming of how your body functions after 50. Here's the truth nobody usually tells you. After age 50, we lose about 8% of our muscle mass every decade. But that's not even the most alarming part. Researchers at the University of Michigan have discovered that the connections between the brain and muscles deteriorate 3 times faster than the muscles themselves. Think about it. Your muscles are there, waiting to work, but the signals from your brain simply don't reach them, like trying to charge a phone with a completely dead battery. Last week, Margaret from Phoenix wrote to me. She thought she was just getting older, until she discovered her body was offline. She found a technique that ancient Chinese warriors have known for centuries, a way to restore those connections without lifting weights or running miles. It's called the horse pose. Before you imagine that it's just a matter of standing still, let me tell you about Harold, 74, an engineer, a logician, and a skeptic, someone who only believes what he sees. Harold could barely get up from his armchair without supporting himself on his arms. His wife started installing grab bars in the bathroom. "I felt like a prisoner in my own body," he said. "My legs were there, but they weren't mine." His physical therapist mentioned something about neural activation and isometric training. Harold went home and researched it, eventually finding a study from the Beijing Institute of Sports Medicine on the horse pose. The study followed 127 elderly people for 6 months. Half did traditional exercises, and the other half added just 2 minutes of the horse pose daily. The results were impressive: 41% more balance, 38% more leg strength, and most incredibly, 52% felt more connected to their own bodies. Harold decided to give it a try. At first, he could only manage 30 seconds. That was all he could stand. But it was enough to start feeling the difference. Week 1. The awakening. "It was as if someone had turned on the lights in a room I didn't even remember being dark," Harold said. After just a few days of practicing the horse pose, he noticed something subtle but striking. When he stood up from the chair, his legs finally responded. They weren't stronger yet, but they were faster, and it makes sense when we look at it through the lens of science. Dr. James Patterson of the Cleveland Clinic explains that the horse's posture causes continuous neuronal activation, but without overloading the joints. It's like upgrading your body's operating system without touching the hardware. But there's something even more impressive, something no one usually mentions. An almost miraculous effect this practice has on men over 50, something no pill can replicate. We'll get there soon, but before that, leave your location in the comments. I'm curious to see where our community is following us from today. The science that nobody expected. Stanford researchers studying Tai Chi accidentally discovered something extraordinary about isometric positions. By maintaining the horse stance, the body activates what's called mechanotransduction. In simple terms, the constant pressure on the muscles sends signals that increase the production of mitochondria, the power plants of cells. This brings a number of surprising benefits. It improves proprioception, meaning your body better understands where each part is in space, recalibrates your internal GPS, rejuvenates connective tissue, and even improves facial hydration. Furthermore, it increases BDNF, a neurotrophic factor that helps neurons stay active. Basically, a fertilizer for your brain. Dr. Sarah Chen, who led the Stanford study, commented, "We expected small benefits, but what we saw was a complete transformation of both body and mind. Why your legs are more important than you think." They're not just for walking. Legs are the body's biggest muscle pump, helping to push blood back to the heart. They function like a metabolic furnace, burning calories even when you're at rest, and are your main guarantee of independence. Every time you get into the horse pose, you're not just training muscles, you're strengthening your heart. The constant contraction improves cardiovascular efficiency without causing stress. The American Heart Association found that isometric exercises, like this pose, reduce blood pressure even more effectively than aerobic exercise, and also reconnect the brain and body. The focus required to maintain posture creates new neural pathways. Magnetic resonance imaging shows increased gray matter in the regions that control balance and spatial perception. And after just 8 weeks, the gentle load on the bones activates osteoblasts, strengthening bone density exactly where you need it most. The 7 transformations. Nobody told you about transformation. 1. Your base is rebuilt from scratch. 3 weeks after starting, Harold texted me. I'd forgotten what it was like to trust my legs. By maintaining the horse stance, all the muscles, from the toes to the glutes, are activated in perfect synchrony. Unlike traditional exercises, which isolate muscle groups, this practice teaches the body to work as a team. Quadriceps and calves learn to communicate, glutes and core coordinate. The result? An entire body that moves in harmony, ready to respond to the slightest command from the brain. The Journal of Biomechanics, he published something impressive. Older people who practiced the horse pose for 12 weeks exhibited patterns of neuromuscular coordination, identical compared to individuals 20 years younger. Not similar, equal. Transformation. The tree trunk becomes your secret weapon. Forget painful crunches or planks that hurt your shoulders. The horse pose activates the entire cylinder of the torso, front, back, sides, and most importantly, the deep stabilizers that we almost never see. Dr. Michael Torres of Johns Hopkins University explains, the transverse abdominis muscle, the body's natural belt, is only fully activated under sustained tension from the entire body. The horse pose is one of the few exercises that achieves this without flexing the spine. It's no wonder that many people report that their back pain disappear, and they don't just improve. Susan from Denver wrote, I spent thousands of dollars on chiropractors. 2 months of horse posture accomplished what 5 years of adjustments couldn't. Transformation, Art 3. Equilibrium that becomes automatic. Try this. Stand on one foot for 30 seconds. Can you do it without holding on to anything? If not, don't worry. You're not alone. The CDC reports that 36 million falls occur each year in adults over 65. But most aren't accidents. They're system failures. Balance depends on 3 pillars: visual, vestibular, and proprioceptive. From the age of 50, all 3 begin to deteriorate. The horse's posture is the only exercise that trains all 3 simultaneously. By maintaining the position, its eyes focus, its inner ear adjusts the position, and the receptors in the joints remain active. Japanese researchers have found that elderly people who practice the horse pose reduce their risk of falls. 67%. Try, 67%. Transformation, 4. Circulation that changes everything. Our blood vessels have smooth muscles in their walls, and with age they become sluggish. This causes blood to pool, leading to high blood pressure and slow flow. The horse's posture applies what we call peripheral resistance training. Sustained muscle contraction trains the vessels to dilate and contract efficiently, improving circulation naturally. Transformation, 5. The advantage of the room that nobody mentions. Gentlemen, we need to talk about this. Ladies, this applies to you too, in a different way. The horse pose deeply activates the pelvic floor muscles. For men over 50, this means better blood flow to the most important areas. International Journal of Impotence Research. Yes, a scientific journal showed that isometric pelvic floor exercises improved erectile function in 73% of participants. For women, pelvic floor activation strengthens bladder control, improves core stability, and also benefits sexual health. Dr. Patricia Yamoto, a urologist at UC, says, if I could prescribe a single exercise for pelvic health after 50, the ideal pose would be the horse pose. And it's not about vanity. It's about quality of life, about confidence, about feeling like yourself again. Transformation, now 6. Mental resilience that is reflected in life. Let's be honest. The horse pose hurts. After 30 seconds, your thighs burn. Your mind screams, enough. But that's exactly where the magic happens. The brain learns to ignore panic signals, recalibrates its perception of threat, and reprograms the stress response. Special forces, like the Navy SEALs, use similar isometric poses for mental training. They call it stress inoculation. You're literally teaching your brain to remain calm under pressure. Robert, a 68-year-old CEO, told me, "The horse pose taught me more about myself than 40 years in the business world. When you can remain still, even when you feel discomfort, everything else in life becomes easier." Studies from the University of Wisconsin confirm isometric training, such as the horse pose, increases the production of front, a natural neurotransmitter that combats anxiety. Participants reported 45% less anxiety, 38% better sleep quality, 51% more emotional stability. Transformation. 7. Stress-free joint protection. Here's the paradox of aging. You need to strengthen your muscles to protect your joints, but most exercises that strengthen muscles end up overloading the joints. The horse pose solves this impossible equation. Isometric contraction strengthens muscles, tendons, and ligaments, without impact, friction, or repetitive movements. Dora Jennifer Park, head of sports medicine at the Hospital for Special Surgery, explains, "The horse pose is rehabilitation and prevention in a single movement. It's what I prescribe before and after knee surgeries. The compressive forces stimulate the production of synovial fluid, the WD-40 of the joints. That's why many people report that their knees feel younger after just a few weeks of practice, the hormonal revolution that nobody expected. When you maintain the horse posture, something extraordinary happens at the cellular level. Your muscles release myosin. These are messenger molecules that function almost like hormones, and the effects are almost science fiction. IL-6 improves insulin sensitivity, saying goodbye to blood sugar spikes. BDNF-IT enhances brain function, bringing mental clarity. Ericina-IT transforms white fat into brown fat, making your body a more efficient metabolic boiler. IGF-1 Yes, it stimulates muscle growth, even after age 70. The European Journal of Applied Physiology showed that isometric exercises release myokines with 300% more effective. These are dynamic exercises. That's why those who practice horse posture not only feel stronger, their entire biochemistry changes. The invisible strength that most never develop. Muscles contain two types of fibers, type Y, which are slow twitch, and type 2, which are fast twitch. After age 50, we rapidly lose type 2 fibers, those that give us explosive energy, help us react quickly when we stumble, stand up suddenly, or need to move unexpectedly. The horse's posture is one of the few exercises that preserve these fibers without requiring high-impact movements. But there's an even more fascinating secret. It also activates the type 2B fibers. These are super fast contracting muscles, practically unknown to most people. They are the ones that come into play when you need to catch a grandchild who is falling or prevent a fall yourself. The morning routine that transforms the body. Harold discovered that the timing of practice makes all the difference. He structured his routine like this: to wake up, no looking at your phone, no coffee, just getting up in your bedroom or living room. Starting position: stand with your feet shoulder width apart, toes and heels pointing slightly outward, about 15 degrees, respecting the natural anatomy of your hips. Lower yourself slowly. Imagine an invisible bench. Keep your knees aligned with your toes. At first, Harold only did a quarter squat, arms relaxed at first, then stretched out in front to increase the challenge. Breathing: inhale through your nose counting to 4, hold for 2 seconds, and exhale through your mouth counting to 6. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, transforming effort into growth. Start with just 20 seconds if necessary. Harold, in the beginning, couldn't do more than that. Today he holds the position for 3 minutes, even while watching the morning news. Mistakes that sabotage your progress. 3 common mistakes cause most people to fail. Going down too fast. Knee pain should never occur. Thigh pain is fine. Joint pain requires a stop and adjustment. Hold your breath. This turns a sustainable exercise into anaerobic torture. Breathe continuously and consciously. Practice sporadically. The secret isn't in having a perfect session. It's in showing up every day, even if it's just for 20 seconds. What happens in your body during those 2 minutes? Seconds 1 to 10. The brain begins to activate dormant motor units. Seconds 10 to 30, blood flow increases by up to 40%, nourishing the muscle tissue. Seconds 30 to 60, metabolic stress sends signals to the muscles to become stronger. Seconds 60 to 120, the hormonal cascade kicks in. Testosterone, growth hormone, and IGF-1 naturally increase. In just 2 minutes, a day, your body begins to reconnect, activating forgotten muscles, explosive fibers, and systems that were dormant. After only 2 minutes, the magic continues to happen. Your body remains in reconstruction mode for up to 72 hours, strengthening muscles, joints, and neural connections. That's why, daily consistency, it's more powerful than sporadic long sessions. 2 minutes every day easily surpasses 20 minutes once a week. Unexpected side effects. Many people report benefits they never imagined. My digestion has improved. The deep core activation seems to have given my gut a boost. Barbara, 71 years old. I sleep much better. There's something about practicing at night that calms my whole system. James, 66 years old. My handwriting has improved. It sounds crazy, but neural training has affected my fine motor control. Patricia, 69 years old. It's no coincidence. When you reconnect the major circuits of the nervous system, the effects spread throughout the body, in addition to the legs. Who should be cautious? Although the horse's stance is extremely safe, some people need to proceed with caution. Uncontrolled high blood pressure. Isometric contraction can generate temporary pressure spikes. Start with just 10 seconds and observe your body's response. Recent knee or hip surgeries? Start slowly and, if necessary, under professional guidance. With these precautions, almost anyone can experience the incredible benefits of this age-old practice.